We here, we here, we here. What's going on, people? Once again, uh, mental health or mental health. So basically, this came about, just I typically go every now and then, just having a conversation of how are you doing? How are you feeling? Is everything okay? Are you yourself? You know, uh, how do you feel today between 1 and 5? Just similar things like that. But more or less, just trying to have the conversation. Are you okay? Is everything okay? Just being, the norm. Because when it comes down to it, man, especially as men, a lot of us don't get that push to, talk about our problems. Recently there are a lot of men, have conversations and they talk about things, but more or less the push is to be tough, figure it out, work through it. And this newer generation struggles with that. And they're more emotional than anything. So more or less having a conversation kind of helps. Mentally for men and women. Just having a conversation, have somebody you can talk to, but knowing that you're talking to the right person. You know, eh, there's an old saying about giving your light to people, and it goes with this as well. You talking to someone about mental things that's going on, they could be the main one, can go out there and tell everybody your dark secrets. And some people are sworn to secrecy where they'll just keep everything in and won't tell or say anything. But then there's those who tell everybody. Let everybody know what's going on in your life. Let everybody know how you're struggling, how you're feeling. You're not committing to the things that you speak on. You're not committing to your life. So that's like a real burden, man, into overall entrusting someone that that has your best interests. And this typically just do you dirty. Tell everybody your secrets. There's things that you really don't want out, that you just need someone to talk to, because mental health sometimes is you just getting it off your chest, because people walk around stressed out about things sometimes, and they really don't have to. There are situations where I talk to family members and friends to where they just need an outside perspective of things, because there's been times to where I've talked to someone and I'm like, why are you stressing about this? This is nothing to be stressed about. This is nothing that you should have had an issue with, because simply because with this person, they're not doing anything, or with this person, this is not what you think it is. And so mentally, you've already believed the lie in your head, or fabricated things in which you made up to interpret to say, well, this to be true. The whole time it's a totally different thing, totally different, subject or whatever issue that's in. But you've grown to believe the lie. That's like professional liars. I always call them professional liars, because there are people that lie literally so much that they can believe the lie. You'll be with somebody and say, "Yeah, man, me and my friend we went to the store," and your friend jumps out and say, "Yeah, man, I went and I slapped the clerk, the cashier." You're sitting there with this guy when this happened. He didn't slap the cashier. He slapped his money on the counter and was yelling at the cashier because of something he said or whatever the case may be. But he's believing the lie, and it comes down to it. Self care was going on. I've been swing over there in a minute. How you been? How you been doing? I'm actually gonna be going to Jamaica next month. My wife's family gonna be down there. I think we're gonna be close to Kingston, but we might be staying in Montego Bay. But I'm gonna see. We might do an Airbnb or something. But I was thinking about going. I like Montego Bay better to me. But yeah, I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted on it. But how you doing? And but when it comes down to it, a lot of times with like stress on your body. A lot of times people just more or less need to talk it out. I mean, going back into that, the professional liars. When it comes down to it, a lot of people believe the lie so much to the point where it is literally an issue to the people around you, you know. And you have these people that can get information twisted. You could tell them that you're depressed, tell them there's a situation where you just don't feel yourself. They'll twist the whole thing around, saying that you're, thinking about suicide and all these things of that nature, and nothing close than the truth. But the point of it is, this person is always, having their spin on things and how they want to handle it. So, I mean, it comes at that cost. Make sure you know when you're talking to people about information like this that you literally have somebody that you can trust. Like mentally just pouring your heart into somebody that don't have your best interest, majority of the time it doesn't end well, you know. Really doesn't end well because a lot of times those people take your information and they do as they please. They literally do as they please. They will take this information that you're giving you, use it against you. I've seen it countless times. People take the information and just do all sorts of things because at the end of the day, with them, it's the way they want to handle things. It's their business, their life, the way they want to handle all this stuff. So there's nothing you can really do about it, but just stay away from it and don't deal with it. Don't tell your information to people that doesn't share the same light as you, or pretty much the point of caring because they have an old saying that all skin folk ain't kinfolk or family or whatever. You can have your best friend be more of a family member than your own cousin or brother. So when it comes down to that, you seeking and confining in people, literally reaching out to family members, sometimes that might not be a good thing. Even with mental health, finding the right person to talk to, a therapist or something like that. What's going on, boss lady? It actually helps. Like I said, it just more or less just talking to someone, getting your problems off out your head and have somebody to relate to you know, because you do have your best friends, you might have your cousins, your sister, whomever, but just getting somebody that you know and confident that'll hold things, won't tell everybody. That's like kind of hard nowadays because everybody wants to know everything, everybody wants to tell everything, everybody wants to put majority of people business out. I don't know, is this new era of things of social media, but that's how things are moving right now. It's hard to trust people. It's hard to find somebody that has your best interest. It's hard to literally, deal with somebody that, work with you and deal with you and, you only and keeping your secrets. That's the thing. Back in the day, the older people, they would normally talk as well, but there are certain things that they would take to the grave. And nowadays, that's not the case. Everything is entertainment to a degree for most people. So your misery or your pain is their entertainment. Most movies and Tyler Perry movies is focused on that pain and the relationship and things of that nature. And you have these situations to where most people pride themselves on dealing and knowing we are pain, going and seeing you have trauma. Prime example, I was talking to my wife one time and we were talking about a situation where somebody was saying some things and trying to give her advice. And, not to be rude about the person who was giving her the advice, but I just simply said, now, this person giving you the advice, are they married or are they single or are they divorced? And, it was to the degree that the lady was divorced from her husband. And I'm like, well, not saying that it will work or won't work, but if they're giving you this information and you see their outcome, that should, put you in the mind frame of doing a little more research or just not even dealing with them or listening to them at all. Because, like I always say, truth be told, the proof is in the pudding. If you're going to tell me to do something, show me how it worked in your life. You know, Tamika in the building, what's going on with you? Because I've seen, I listen to a lot of pastors on the online and different ministries, and one pastor in particular, Elijah Barner from the Barner Brothers Hair Care Products. I was listening to one of his ministries one time, and he was saying that as his father had them when they were young, he would always encounter people that say, "Well, you a good man of God. Your kid should do this." And I've told this story several times over, where he encountered a man. The man told him, "Hey, you should keep your kids from that TV. Put them heads in the books." And the guy was like, "Okay, well, show me the results." He showed him the results. He had a doctor. He had three kids. One was a doctor, one was a lawyer, and one was a college professor. So he said, "Well, after seeing that, I implemented the same strategy for my kids as this guy, and he produced a doctor, a businessman, about three. I think two of his kids are in business. They have their own business. One's a doctor." So the system worked, and like I said, going mentally wise, dealing with people, you got to be able to trust them. You got to be able to know that if you tell them something, it's confidential. It's not to a point to where they're going to tell everybody what's going on about you. They're going to show everybody, what you're doing, how you're living. You could be in a situation to where you're halfway homeless and you just need some assistance, somebody to talk to, try to figure things out. And they just throw you up under the bus. You know, Prime example, it was crazy too. There was a lady that was an influencer, and she inspired another lady to pursue a better career for herself. And the lady always posts nice pictures of her, in a nice car, nice clothes, nice purses, nice shoes. So she was like, "This lady inspired me to my greatness. Let me give her a call, reach out to her." So social media reached out to her. They called each other on social media. And she was, in the background packing and stuff like that. And she's, "Oh, did I catch you at a bad time? Sorry, are you moving?" The lady referred to her, "No, I'm not moving. I'm actually about to get put out my place." And she was like, "Oh man, sorry to hear that." She said, "Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do next month, but as of right now, probably gonna be staying in a hotel or staying somewhere." I don't know. She could have stayed with a family member or what, but this was the story where it was presented. And the lady was like, "Oh man, this is tragic." And she's like, "Yeah, I got to put all my purses and stuff like that in storage and figure out what I'm gonna do." But yet, as soon as she got off the phone with her, she got a message from that same lady that was posted online. She looked at it. It was a picture of her walking across the street with a real nice, what was it, red bottoms with a red Prada purse and a nice red sundress. And she was like, "This lady's about to get put out, but yet she's still posting stuff like this." And like towards the mental side of things, you're literally in a position to where you're going to be, bad. But yet, mentally, she still has to have that vanity to put on and show people that she's still making money. Like, from that standpoint, that's when your vanity and pride should be put to the side. But someone that's a friend, they can talk to her and walk her off that ledge, because why are you doing something that you know it's not even jeopardizing you, but just your overall, like mentally, people have just gotten so far out of touch of reality. You have a situation going on, you just close your eyes and it's not even there. But like I say, needless to say, you deal with people every single day, every single week that go through issues like this, and you know, overall, Who's giving help to these people? And some of these people are not seeking help. You know, there's family members that literally don't say anything to them. They let them walk in the fire. They let them go through the fire and burn. They don't say anything to them. And so as a result, they're getting issues time and time again, and everybody's just sitting back talking about them. You know, the crazy part about that is when it comes down to it, hey, if nobody to talk to, a lot of people just take the pain and bury it to a point where it's too overbearing, and then they lash out. Then to a point where it's too late then, right? Because ultimately, when you keep having issues and keep lashing out, it's gonna come a point in which you're gonna have a mental breakdown, and that's how it normally and typically happens. You're dealing with so much stress and things that's going on in your life, and it just you're at a boiling point, literally at a boiling point, to where I just can't take it no more. I literally can't take it anymore. And as a result of that, you know, majority of people just have their ends. And like I said, just talking to people that can actually, even the point of them not even giving a response to you to actually help you, it's just the more or less the people that just listen, that listening ear, and it gets to a point that, hey, if you want to physically harm yourself, having family members and friends that you don't want them to tell, but at the same time, to protect you and have your best interest, they gotta say something. They gotta do something. They got to. Because as a result of that, they're looking out for you. A lot of people tend to hate that. Hey, my cousin told on me that I was thinking about this. And it's for your best interest. Like I said, having that person you can talk to, confidence, you know, they're not trying to do you any harm. But at the same time, they don't want you to do any harm to yourself. You know, there's a few people I talk to, and they deal with me mentally, just having that support. I was dealing with a cousin one time. This guy, to a point, it's like didn't have no hope. He was at the end of his rope. But just having me talk to him all the time, Malika, what's going on? Just literally having me talk to him all the time change. This guy was like came to me one time and said, "Man, I literally was on the brink of just leaving." And I'm like, "What do you mean leaving? Was you gonna go somewhere, go out of the state, something?" What? He's like, "No, just checking out." He's like, "But you always talking with me, joking with me, saying this little weird stuff, making me laugh." And it kind of kept my mind off of the issue that I had. And you was the only one that seen it. I wouldn't open up about it, but at the same time, it was literally burning and driving me crazy inside. I didn't know what to do. And like I said, to be caught off guard about something like that. April Showers in the building. Good morning to you, Miss April. And like I said, just to be caught off guard by something like that, that's a big thing, man. You have somebody that's your family member just, you know, want to take in their last breath and talking to you in confidence about the things that's going on in their life. And, you know, versus me, in my opinion, I didn't think it was that tragic what he was telling me, but to the point, you know, you can't, feel. Sorry about that. I had a call, but like I said, just dealing with stuff like the stress, burden. you don't have that level of thought like them, so you're not gonna go through that same pain. There are things that can be similar, but you know, in Mills, what's going on? Nobody's one and the same. Literally, nobody's one and the same. The same issues you're going through right now, let's say if in a relationship, other people don't go through those same issues. And the ones that do go through the same issues, you go through the issues different. You know, uh, a issue of you having a situation to where, let's say, a husband and his wife are having communication issues. You know, she don't want to be supportive of him. She don't want to, just be the loving person when she first married her. Then that goes against the questions of why did you marry her and stuff. But then it goes the deeper root is where's all this firing from? Because if you have the conversation or have someone that's mediate that comes between all this, typically you find out that hey, it started because you did this or you were acting this way, and until made me be this way. You know, the best people to talk to back in the day were the family members. You know, my cousin and my uncle were the main two that I talked to that instilled me on getting married, even though I was getting married young, and they was saying, hey, kind of grow a little more before you get married. But at the same time, they knew I was mature and say, well, you're a little more mature than I was when I was your age, so I think it might be a good fit. But the thing of it is, you're making the decision. Is up to you. Big discussion 76. What's going on, Dr. Dunbar in the building? So I've always had, great guidance through family members. Nowadays the guidance is through social media. It's a running joke that a lot of guys I hear in different spaces talk about having a YouTube daddy or, having a YouTube mommy or auntie. And it goes to that extent because a lot of people on social media are listening to these influences. Mentally, I don't think that's a good thing because being that someone that you talk to online, you're not personal with, so they don't know or not familiar with you. So they're speaking in general. In general, everybody can go get their license, but through the stipulations of not knowing that you have something mentally the or not capable of doing to getting your license, that's something specific that the person that you're talking to would know, and they would say, well, this will be an issue, but this is how you get around it, or this is how I can help you with that. Personal things, a lot of times people can't help you with it. And it comes to a point, you know, when you literally talking and having conversation with people. I think like my thing with Kevin Samuels, Kevin Gray gave good information, and a lot of people kind of really dropped the ball on what he was talking about because he was digging more or less deeply mentally in the situation of the community. You know, despite all the conversation about women, nobody reflected on the issue when he talked to men. So like I said, with that situation, when he always talked to women, people had their opinions, people had their issues, their gripe. But where was the issue and the gripe when he was talking to men, telling them that they they they're not in a position to deal with a nice woman that they want because they don't have their money together, they don't have their life together. That was one of the things I agreed with him on mostly. You know, the point that you have to be a certain place in your life to obtain a certain type of lifestyle or a certain type of woman. I mean, just in general, one of the things I heard from him say was that women pretty much are going to spend your money or going to want to be protected. So What will you do in order to get that? A lot of men, he was basically telling them, make more money. Then you will have the women that wanted the man with the money, but looking at the man who has the money, typically, I think it's a 3% of men across the United States, or yeah, more or less 3% across the United States are the men in which most women want. But out of all that 3%, young Riaz, what's going on? Out of all that 3%, how many women are going to get those 3% of men? Because having an understanding, let's say 50% of the women are married. Out of 50% of the women that are married, the other 50%. Yeah, I'm starting to get calls, so I'm gonna have to get ready to jump off here in a minute. What's going on, Lisa J in the building? But like I said, from his standpoint, and a lot of people making money, even with the women, like I was getting back to say, there's 50% of women that are single. It's 3% of men that the women like and that could qualify being in a relationship. So that's about 47% of the women that can't get those men that they really want, that have the money, have the height, all those things that Kevin and other women talked. Kevin talked about, and the women pursued. So in actuality, 47% of women are not gonna have a relationship, or because they don't want to settle. That was the whole conversation. And even the point of not just selling with anybody or dealing with someone that's comfortable. That's a mental thing within itself. Men have that same issue. You know, they want these women who are, what they say, freaking the sheet and classy lady. You can't have both. You got to have one or the other. And a lot of times that's where that mental line gets drawn and people are not looking at it. You know, like I said, mentally going back into what I was talking about, having someone you can talk to, relate to, deal with mentally, that helps talking out things, because majority of the time, sitting there with all that burden, all that stress, you typically change a narrative in the issue that you was already going through. Omega, what's going on with you? You literally change that narrative in the issue that's going on in your life. You literally might say, okay, my mom, my dad, they don't love me no more because I'm in high school. They don't buy me clothes. They don't they don't do all these things for me. I'm just, man, I can't take it, man. I'm about to leave. Young kids nowadays, that's how they act. I got teenagers. But they be like, oh man, the world is coming to an end. Well, the parents could be saving up, having a big birthday party for you. But, outreach, talking to somebody, and they'll, bring you more to comfort compared to just, wilding out about nothing, you know. And that's the case with a lot of people are having issue with just being so mad and, having getting in their feelings for nothing. I've talked to several people lately, and it's just their whole thing of, man, this is how it is, or this is how people do this, and it's wrong. Yeah, me, me too. But actually, when you sit down, it's not as bad as you think. A lot of times, people just overall have issue with their selves being put in a box. They have issue with the things that they want done not being done, and feel gripe about that. Alonzo, what's going on, man? Shout out to you. So, like I said, mentally, you got to have somebody that you can talk to, have somebody that you can work with, you know, cope through stress, cope through, kind of bounce things off of. Sometimes it's the point as men say, man, am I tripping? Because somebody said something to me which I think I might be taking it wrong. Like, does this mean what it really said means? You know, and my biggest thing is like I've had this conversation with my wife a lot of times. That's why I tell her, I tell a lot of people I deal with, if we're texting back and forth business wise, and I prefer talking because it leaves the emotional side out of the text. Me and you just had a talk, and you kind of aggressive towards me on the phone, and then start texting me. I'm gonna look at every text as aggressive. What are you gonna do now? You know, what's what's up with you? Versus what are you gonna do about the situation? How you gonna handle it? What's up with you? Are you okay? That's more of the subtle side, but like I say, through a text, emotion is not projected. So a lot of people tend to, go off the handle. And when you sit down and talk with people, literally, I had a conversation with somebody talking with them. They were saying that someone texted them this and, was kind of aggressive towards them. When they were face to face, there was no aggression. And the person was like, wow, I thought they were mad at me. I thought there was this and I thought it was that. I say, I told you you were overthinking it. That person doesn't come off as the reading of the text in which you thought they were. So did you ever reach out to them and talk to them about it? No, I didn't do none of that. And like I said, that texting a lot of times it sends mixed signals. And then the point of you talking to someone, that can kind of talk you off that ledge a little bit because, you know, you can initiate someone's aggression in the argument by just reaching out to them. Hey, so what's up with all this? Um, um, when you coming over here? You you're gonna do this now, or you gonna do this later? They're gonna be looking at you like, who are you getting loud with? Who are you talking to? And then at the end of the conversation, they say, well, I just basically sent you the text. I said, when were you coming over? What are you going to do about this situation with it being nothing? But now it's a situation of where don't talk to me again. And like I said, just all under misunderstood, like I said, just having a conversation with somebody, you know, understanding, picking up the phone and call. If they can't call, they're in a situation where they only can text, talk to them later. Same rule apply with an argument. You know, walk away from that argument. You might need to call your best friend that you could talk to in confidence, and they have a situation where you go back and forth, or just in general, somebody that you normally talk to. Have your best interest. Like I said, dealing with family and friends has always been my go-to. I have a cousin now. My older cousin is about 54. I talk to this guy all the time. We mentally de-stress by just talking about things with each other and making sure both of us are okay. You know, I got brothers, but to a degree, it's like your brothers they're on a goofy play side, or you know, trying to push you in a different direction of feelings. But you have that one person that's not biased that just say, hey man, I'm here, let's talk about it. Let's get this handled. And you're more comfortable with that person, why not go ahead and have the conversation and elevate with that person? And generally, that's what I normally typically do with that person. But understanding that is the key to mental health. Like, you know, having conversation, having someone to talk to, you know, being in a place. Sometimes the setting is better. Sometimes you can't be at home and have these conversations. Sometimes, hey, sitting in the car, just talking about it. You know, some people might have to have a drink to relax to talk about situations. It's up to you. It's up to the way you handle stress or the way you find out how to handle stress. Because that's the thing. Some people don't know how to handle stress, so they need help. Learning how to deal with stuff. Sometimes their narrative is just to curl up in a ball and go to sleep. You know, some people have so much depression, sleep is good for them. But when you wake up, you're still having that same depression. Depression's not going anywhere. It's still there when you wake up, you know. But needless to say, hey, learning how to deal with it, talking with people. Hey, we're on this YouTube all the time. Why not looking up YouTube videos on how to deal with mental health? We looking at the entertaining side. Why not look up how to deal with me being broken, having money? What are some side hustles I can do to make money? Like YouTube is designed, when I first came on, just more of a help tool. Now it's more on the entertainment side, social media part of the game, but I've always stood on the purpose of using YouTube for how to things. And now they're adding more things of knowledge. So just take advantage, you know. With that being said, I always do when I get ready to get off of here. Shout out to everybody that came through, you know, just say, yeah. But, the alcohol helps the conversation. Not drinking yourself to the bottom of the bottle and still having that pain, but just more or less having a conversation with somebody. You know, some people say, hey, take the edge off. You know, that's the thing. Some people might drink a little glass of wine in a conversation because it relaxed them. More or less drinking the whole bottle, not the glass. But drinking the whole bottle and that situation is still having its point. Sunday, what's going on with you? But like I say, mentally having someone you can talk to helps a lot. You know, if you have a wife or a husband, that's great. That should be your number one go to. I tell my wife that all the time. If first and foremost, if it's something that's outside of our home, I should be able to talk to you first. Now, if it's something more relatable to me and you, of course we're gonna talk about it, but it's gonna be a point to where, hey, I might have to talk to somebody, like I say, my cousin. I have to get my cousin's opinion, and not necessarily saying that you're gonna listen to him fully, but the point of it is having that opinion from somebody. It kind of balance you out to say, well, maybe his opinion is right, or maybe I was tripping and I was looking too deep or looking in it too hard. So let me mentally dial back, listening to him, he giving me advice, and also with me looking into, hey, maybe I was a little bit too hard, or just that person might even tell you that your aggression towards the situation was not even needed. So more or less, like I said, having someone you can talk to and depend on, that's the thing. Keeping your secrets. Don't want your family's business out there. You might be even, talks of getting a divorce, and that's something that you haven't finalized. It's just, you want to get some opinions about it. Hey, somebody might tell you, hey man, it's not that bad. Things are worse than that. And that's one of the big things that Kevin mainly talked about too was, if it's not to a point of abuse and compulsive cheating, you know, what are you really getting a divorce over? Finance, you know, from the husband and the wife making more money. Well, that helps, you know. A lot of times people don't talk finance before they get married. That ruins a lot of the conversation right there. You know, there are people, there's a YouTube I watch. I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramith. I have a Netflix special, and I just actually just recently shared this post too today. And the guy's teaching you how to live your rich life. going over your finances, figuring out things. What do you want to do? Me and my wife had a discussion. You want to be able to travel, you want to be able to do things like now. I'm in a position now where I'm gonna try to do 2 trips this year. Yeah, his Netflix special was so good, and when I found out he had a podcast and a YouTube, I just joined over there. And man, I'm hooked. Every day I'm watching at least about 2 videos through all this madness of YouTube and you know the social side and the entertaining. His delivery about finance is real good. I mean, it's put some things in perspective where me and my wife have talked about our finance. From the side of making the money or just in general on saving or how we want to spend the money because ultimately me and my wife are talking about taking different trips and enjoying ourselves. More or less just sitting there at home and worried about the bills. Hey, so with that being said, once again, I'm getting off this time. But with that being said, shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to everybody came through. You know what I always say when I get off of here? We here, we here, we here, and we gone. Peace.